everybody, Aaron J. Anderson here at aaronjanderson.com. Today I wanted to show you a little bit about ND filters. Now a couple people's been asking me if I'm going to do any more videos for my Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera series, and I will be, only if it's more specific toward this camera. However, today it's more, it's an ND filter video, so it can go for any camera. Now when it comes to ND filters, there's two ways at really going at trying to limit the light hitting the sensor. One of the main reasons of doing this is to get a shallow depth of field, and in order to do that out in the sun, basically when you take a lens and you open the iris all the way open, it's going to let a lot of light coming in hitting the sensor. It's going to blow out your shot. So what you need to do is, if you want to keep a shallow depth of field out in the sun, you're going to need to limit the light hitting the sensor. And basically, let's say there's two ways of doing this. You can use square filters like this and a matte box. Basically what you do is once you set up your shot and you get your aperture that you want, and you want to block the light coming in to get a proper exposure, you start stacking up ND filters like this. Now this matte box here is a 3x3, so basically they're 3x3 square filters. You can buy, the typical is 4x4. When I first started doing video, I went with the fader filters, which you put it on the front, which I have one here and I'll show you in a minute, and you dial in your ND. Which is a lot faster than stacking NDs up, trying to figure it out, especially if you're by yourself and you don't got an AC on hand. Most of the work, well, maybe not most, but maybe half of the stuff I get paid for, they hire me. It's usually low budget stuff, and they hire just one person like me to be the director, the cameraman, and everything. So fiddling around with ND filters and trying to get the proper exposure is really kind of quite fiddly, especially if you're don't have a lot of time. So when I first started, I went with the ND fader filters, but what I found out is that they really kind of blur the image, and they seem to always give a color cast. So then I went with the matte boxes, because you can buy glass ones. This is actually, I think, polyester, and the polyester ones, really, I don't see any difference in the glass ones. I've tried polyester and I tried glass, and these are actually optically really good. There's no color cast, and it doesn't blur the image. This one is actually, this is a leaf filter. So if you're looking to get these polyester leaf filters, this is a 0.9 ND. I think that's, I'll have to look. I think it's like 3 stops of light on this one. So it'll knock down 3 stops. Maybe it's more, I think it's 3. But anyways, the problem is when the sun is out, you set up your shot and you start, stacking your filters to get the right exposure. If a cloud comes in, you have to redo that whole process again by switching out filters. And they're really, I mean, it's just cumbersome to do that. It's much easier with the fader ND, but like I said, the fader NDs had color cast and they made my shot blurrier. So what I ended up doing is going with the matte boxes for a while, and then I said, it's just too hard to do. If you see my short film that I did about 1.5 years ago called Clandestine, I had 3 months to do this project for a contest. Didn't have a lot of time, so I knew that having a matte box is not going to be the quickest way to be out there doing most of the stuff by myself. So I got rid of the matte box and I started looking for fader NDs actually after I shot Clandestine, because I was using my old one, which was a what is this one? Genesis Tech. I think they're original ones that I had, and it left the image a little blurry in a really nasty brown cast. What I didn't know until I started reading, when I got the Blackmagic Pocket camera, I said, let me look into faders again, because I just can't stand dealing with the 3x3 filters. So I was searching for NDs, and I heard that Genesis Tech came out with a new one called Eclipse. So I said, everybody's talking good reviews about it. And after reading Shane Hurlbut's blog about how fader NDs kill your skin tones, I realized that that was one of the problems that I had in my short film. and maybe I'll put up a picture here while I'm talking, a still frame of the skin tones do get weird looking. They get a little plasticky. It actually, the shot maybe I'll show you now is, it looks like he has lots of makeup on, let's say. Now Shane doesn't really say what's happening to the skin tones, but I assume that with at least that the original Genistech, and being that these are actually two polarizers together, there's one polarizer that's stationary and the outer one spins, which darkens the image. Now when you do that, I'm assuming for one, you're creating color casts, so that can kill skin tones really quick. Also, being that they're polarizers, it's going to take out the subtle reflections maybe in the skin tones, and that's probably why it's killing skin tones. But nonetheless, I tried the Eclipse, and what we're going to do here is show you, first of all, a resolution test and a color cast test, because the problems I had was color cast, blurriness, and skin tones that I just recently found out. That's why I went with a new Eclipse, got rid of the old one, see what I can do on that. So we're going to show you a quick chart here that I filmed to show you that the resolution of this Genistech does not diminish the video at all. I mean, I can't see anything. I blew it up, I looked side by side, I just can't see any softening of the image, so that's a good plus with the Genistech ND filter, with the Eclipse. And color cast, now there is a color cast as you can see in the chart. The whites start to turn brown. However, the browning effect that you're getting on this is very, very easily fixed in post-production, which I'll show you. Once I bring this footage, at least from the RAW footage, into Adobe Camera Raw, all you have to do is just turn down the temperature toward more blue, and it completely gets rid of the brown cast. So it's almost more of a warming effect and not an overall browning effect. Now, one thing that you do, if you do have a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, one thing you have to get is an IR cut filter. Now, I have a Hoya IR cut, because if you don't have an IR cut on here, this camera is going to get a lot of infrared contamination on the footage, and you're going to get kind of a pinkish red cast over all the footage. Now, if you didn't know that before watching this, you're probably just looking at your footage and go, okay, cool, whatever. But once you put the IR cut and you see the difference, you're like, wow, that's hugely different. And it's really almost, it's close to, it's probably not impossible, it's really hard and time consuming to get out the IR color cast from your footage. So get a Hoya IR cut filter. Now, the Fader ND filter, as you've seen in the chart, sharpness is perfect. Well, I don't know how perfect it can be with more glass in front of your lens, but I don't notice a difference with it. And color cast is really easy to fix. The other problem is the skin tones. Now, I didn't do any skin tone test as I'm recording this. That's what I'm about to do next. And in the second half of this video, we will go into skin tone. But what I did, where do I have it? I have it around here somewhere. Okay, now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to optimize your Fader ND to get its best performance. And I can't take credit for this idea, but I read in a blog somewhere where because they're polarizers and you're spinning one polarizer on top of the other, you're going to get the polarization effect, which is going to take away, it's going to actually tint your video more, and it's going to create less reflections in the skin, and I think that's why it's killing the skin tones. So I'm going to show you a quick little video on how I bought a cheap polarizer, circular polarizer, took the glass out, and just used the housing. So right here you'll see a little notch right there, and then you'll see a little notch over here. All you have to do is take a small screwdriver like this, stick it in there, and then just spin this around. So you take the glass out and you're actually putting the fader ND on top of the housing of the, the polarizer. That allows you to, once you dial in your exposure with the ND, now you can rotate the whole housing around. I don't know if you guys can see that. See, first I spin just the ND to get the right exposure, and then I spin the whole housing around to get optimization of the actual fader ND. And one way I figured out how do I know where the optimization is? Well, by using the same glass. Let's see if you can, you might not be able to see that in here. If you put this one way or the other, you're going to notice a difference. Maybe you can't tell in here. I can't tell on the monitor. But by looking through here, what I did is I put a piece of painter's tape over the top, not just to be able to hold on to, but I did it so I know that this is always up. So what I do is, once I dial in my ND, you know, you get the exposure you want, how dark you want this to be. Then if you put this up, remember it has to be the right way. You're going to see as you rotate the whole housing, it's going to get purple. The image will get purple, and then as you keep going, I don't know if you can see that. You're not going to see the purpling going on right now. I'm just showing you when you keep rotating it on the polarizer assembly, it's going to get darker and then brownish, and then it'll start going back to purple, and if you keep going, it's just going to keep rotating. So on the next test that I'm going to do that I haven't done yet, and I don't know the outcome of this, I'm going to take a shot of a scenery. I'm going to rotate. I'm going to first get the exposure right, then I'm going to rotate the assembly till it's purple, and then film the scene, and then rotate the whole assembly till I get the browning effect and film the scene. And we're going to see what the difference is on having this with the purple and having it with the brown. I did do a few tests that I'm not going to show in this because it was just a sloppy test, but when you have it dialed in to purple, maybe I'll film the test chart again too, doing this just so we see. When you get the purple look through this lens, the browning effect is less, but I want to see how that affects skin tone. So I'll probably just film myself in a mirror, do the purple setting, film skin tones, then get the brown setting and film skin tones and see what happens. So don't throw the glass away if you do this little modification on your polarizer. Keep it so you can do that optimization thing. I'm going to see if there's any effect. There has to be some effect because it turns purple and then it turns brown. So that's showing you where you're at on your fader ND, and hopefully that can optimize the ND filter. So let's go to the computer. I don't know where I'm going with this. A lot of these tutorials lately have been just kind of run and gun. I don't have much time, but I wanted to kind of put this up there for people. Maybe it can help people out. Also, if you know what's going on here with the two polarizers killing skin tones, then post it on my website or under this video here. So let's go to computer and check this out. Okay, so here we are. I went out and did some test footage to show you guys the difference from, I'm going to call it the brown mode and the purple mode. The brown mode is when I turn the whole assembly to get a brown or a very dark look with that extra polarizer filter, and the purple mode is when it's purple. So if we look at this shot here of me, this is really hard to do myself. So things might not be perfect here, but you're going to get the idea anyways. Here we're looking at by the way, I have my IR cut filter on my lens at all times, and I'm using the Sigma, 17 to 50 millimeter zoom lens here, and I might be at 30, 40 millimeters here. But anyways, I want you to look, now this is in the brown mode, that is turning the dial. Let's see if we can get a look of it here. No idea why it's taking so long. Maybe because I'm recording the screen, I guess. Let's shut all these off. So see, it's basically dark. And then you can see the purple shining through here. Will be the purple mode, and this is basically the brown mode. Okay, let's go back over to where I was here. Now the only thing I did on all these clips was I just added some, right here, some vibrance just to bring up some of the vibrance, and another adjustment layer for sharpen, unsharpen mask at 50. And I used adjustment layers, so it's going to be the same all the way down. Okay, let's get started. So here is the Genistech Eclipse filter with the brown mode. You can see there's a brown cast to the footage. And what I want you to look at is the highlights or the reflections in my face look like this in brown mode. Now when I show you the purple mode here, you're going to notice more highlights or more reflections. And because they're polarizers, I'm thinking the polarization is taking out some of the reflections off skin tones, and that's why it kills the skin tones, because you don't have none of that natural reflection going on. Whereas, let's go back to brown mode right now. It makes the skin look a little like there's like makeup, I would say, a little more brown. And it's not necessarily the brown tinting that's going on, it's just taking out the reflections. So let's go back to the purple mode. You're going to see a lot more highlights here, and more highlights coming here, and a lot more here on my nose. When we go back to the brown mode, we could see like they're almost all gone here, almost all gone here. We still have a major one here, and just very little bit here. So I think that's what's going on, is when you don't optimize your ND fader filter with this technique I'm doing, you're going to lose that natural reflection in the skin, which I think Shane Herbert was saying kills the skin tones, and I think that's why. But you can see, let's go from brown to the purple mode, brown, purple mode. Okay, let's go to another shot here. Right here, this is a 50 millimeter. Now this is the brown mode. You're going to notice that it looks like I basically have like a lot of makeup on. That's just what I'm calling it, because there's no reflections. Let's go to the purple mode. And now the purple mode, you can see there's more highlights here, more highlights here. And of course, it's giving, the purple mode gives less browning effect. So the skin tones are going to look a little more pinky with not having brown on it, which skin tones are a little more pinkish and reddish and not brown like this. So this looks brown and not many reflections, as you can see here, back and forth. I think that's it for the skin tones in this shot. Oh, this was with, now this was earlier. This is without the ND filter. I still have the IR filter on. So the lighting's a little different. I forgot to do it without, and so I came back like maybe an hour later and tried to set this up. But here you can see a lot more reflections. If we go to the P mode or purple mode, less reflections. Again, this was a different time, so I could have been sweating different or whatever. But there's the brown mode, much worse than the purple mode. There are other shots. Now this is outside here. Just wanted to shoot some different scenery. This is the brown mode of dialing it in, and this is the purple mode. As you can see here, the colors, it looks brownish, and in purple mode it looks less brownish. So you're going to see that every shot I do, it always looks better in the purple mode. So here is the brown mode, and here is the purple mode. Now sometimes it's not a huge difference, and sometimes it's a big difference. That's because polarizers actually work depending on their angle of the sun. So sometimes depending on the light, depending on the angle, you're going to get more polarization, less polarization, so you're going to get stronger color cast on these shots here. So there's the brown mode, purple mode. Let's go to the color chart. Now, this color chart here, this was inside, and this is the brown mode. Now, you can see some brown here and some browning in here, but the colors don't change much. Now, watch when I jump to the purple mode. I mean, you barely notice a difference, right? But here, look at this little bit of brown right here. And when I go to purple mode, keep your eye on that. When I click off purple mode, that brown is actually gone. Here's brown, purple, brown, purple, brown, purple, brown, purple. And more browning in here. If I turn it on, there's brown, there's purple, brown, and purple. And there's slight browning in the shadows there when I have it on brown, and on purple, less. So every shot so far, oh here, this was set up different a different time because I forgot, but this is no ND filter. And let's go to the brown. So excuse me, brown, no ND, brown, no ND. Now when you're inside, you're probably not going to use ND anyways. I just wanted to see how this affects these NDs, and the more light you have, depending on the angle, is the worse you're going to get. Now let's go to the beach here, and here is the brown mode, and let's go to the purple mode. Now you're going to see a huge difference. Look, this looks kind of a little green out here, a little brown here. It just has an overall brown cast to it. Now when I go to the purple mode, check this out. Looks so much more blue, so much more white, the clouds, and there's almost very little color cast. So you can see the importance already of dialing your ND Genistech Eclipse to get the better results here. Let's go to the next shot. Look, this is very brown now. Remember, I have the IR cut on. If you don't have the IR cut, you're going to get IR redness to this shot, which really is just going to screw your colors up. But here's the brown mode. Dial it in to purple mode. Look at the difference. I mean, this looks all murky brown. Dialing it in, it's all blue. Now remember, I'm not color correcting any of this footage. All I did was add sharpening and saturation. All of this color correction that looks like it's going on is just in camera, which is what you want to do. So for a few dollars, you can buy a polarizer, take out the glass, dial this ugly brown, and get much more closer natural colors and better skin tones. So let's go to another shot. Look at this brownness, man. This is just brown muck. Now we go to the purple mode, and look at that, man. That's like, look at the greens. This green looks really brown. If we turn on the purple mode, more green. Look at the blue. Let's go back to the brown mode. I mean, that's brown murkiness. Everything is brown. We go to the purple mode, and you can see the difference. I mean, what a huge difference that is. Let's go to the next scene. Here's the brown. Look at the murky brown ocean here. When we go to purple mode, look at that. I mean, that is like night and day. And you're actually color correcting in camera, by just rotating it. So you don't have to necessarily color grade, but I'm going to show you even this has brown in it, and I'll show you in a second how to fix it up even more. What else we got here? Now this shot, you're going to notice on the ND filter, if you go too far, you're going to start getting, it's called like the dark X or something they call it, where you're going to start getting dark blotches. That's because I cranked the ND too far. But you're going to see anyways with this example of watch how all this brown gets cleared up by just rotating the whole assembly of the ND filter. Look at that. I mean, minus these dark edges that's going on here. Look how blue that is, and look how brown that is. So there's the brown setting and the purple setting, brown setting, purple setting. Let's go to the next shot. Now this looks all murky green and brown. That's set with the ND on the brown setting, and if we click over to the purple setting, look at the difference. That is huge difference by just a cheap little fix. I mean, look at that. That is like night and day, right? Really cool. Okay, so let's go back to this shot. This is the brown mode. By rotating it, you get the purple mode, and I'm going to show you how to further color correct this. Once you bring it into After Effects here, the raw image is going to open up in Adobe Color Raw, whatever it's called. And if you go in here and you forget something, you just click on the footage, go up to Edit, and Edit Original, and you're back here. Now, I can still see, so you don't want to start off every shot like this because this is what you're going to get. But here's how you fix it. Even though you colored into the purple mode like you see here by rotating the whole assembly, which is going to get you your best possible quality out of your Genistech, by just taking the temperature and going down just a tad, we can come back here and look at that. See, now it's like almost all the tint is gone completely. So even if you forget, let's go up to the brown mode. even if you don't do this trick, which you should because you want to get the best quality in camera before you go into post here. But here's the brown setting. You do the same thing. You go edit, edit original, and you can do this before you bring it into After Effects. Just all you gotta do is take the temperature, crank it down a little bit, and look at that. I mean, we just cleaned up the brownness. Now if we go to the purple mode here, purple mode still comes out better. Let's see if we can get closer here. Edit, edit original. Let's take, whoops, I did something wrong here. Edit original, and let's go a little further down on the blue to see if we can try to match the other one up. So there you go. Let's go back and forth. I might have went too far with this, but you can see by just doing the in-camera trick, you don't have to tweak so much stuff in post. That's getting a little closer. It's still not getting as close as you could, push more colors around and highlights and stuff, but nonetheless, put your thing on the purple mode. Let's see if I can find in case I didn't show it already. This is purple mode. I, rotate the whole assembly. After I get my ND in, I rotate the whole assembly till I get this purple, and that tells me I'm optimized for the best quality. Whereas if we go up to the brown mode, when you spin it around, it turns it looks black, maybe dark brown. This isn't good. So later I'm going to show you how to, once you get the purple mode, you can lock this in by making some marks on your polarizer and then taping it off, which I'll show you here in a second. But I think that's it, guys. That's about it. Now let me go show you how to lock all this in. Okay, everybody, so there you have it. So you saw the test shots. Let me get my little thing here. You've seen the test shots. And it was a little difficult going out there and putting this up, turning it, dialing in the ND, then finding the purple setting and recording for a few seconds, then putting it up, dialing in the brown, and then pressing record. Now, when you're out there filming, you don't want to do that all the time, and you don't want to carry this around. So once you find the optimal setting, which is purple, then you can make some markings. So first of all, what I'll do is I'll start recording on here, and we'll show you. If you look here, first let's say we want to dial in our ND, and then you want to spin the housing till you get purple, just like that. At its purplest, you want to then go to the side. You want to go to the side over here, and you want to make a couple little marks. And you can see, let's try this. Let's take this off so we can start from scratch here for you guys. Once you make two little marks, one on the non-spinning side and one on the spinning side, line those two marks up, and you can actually, I'm going to scratch those in so that they're more permanent. But once you do that, take a piece of tape, put that on there like that, so now the housing won't spin, only your ND will spin. Now all you have to do is work with the ND side of things, and you don't have to worry about knocking the purple brown mode, whatever you want to call it. It's now set there, perfect to go. Now you can run all around and just worry about ND. So that's about it. So for just a couple bucks, it's really essential to do this trick because you're going to get the best quality out of the Genestech Eclipse. Now, at the end of this video, in a few seconds here, I'm going to put back-to-back all the shots that I did with the brown mode and the purple mode on top of each other, so you can see directly what they look like. So that's about it. Go to my website at aaronjanderson.com, and maybe I'll post some more things about this. If I learned something that I forgot to say in this post, I'll put it there, and maybe some images of the test charts so you guys can see the resolution difference, although there wasn't much difference anyways. But check it out anyways. Aaron J. Anderson. Talk to you guys later.